Yes, thanks for staying with us on the Sports Show. Time to get the AFL tips now. Our man, Bevo, Poppy, again continues to dominate Thursday night footy.
He does.
Got
Another
it
winner
right
last
again
night, yeah.
between Sydney and the Bulldogs. Now, big game tonight for us, Bevo. Welcome.
Yeah,
Let's get to it, mate. Crows in second spot, St Kilda in 11th. The last time the Saints were able to beat the Crows was back in 2011. Is it going to be any different tonight?
I don't think so. I mean, the Crows have copped a lot of criticism. They'll be very pumped up for this game. They got smashed in the contested footy last week. 34, they lost the contested possession to Geelong. So I think they'll come out very fired up on Friday night against the Saints. So,
it's a different midfield this week. You know, when you're up against Dangerwood, Selwoods, and, you know, we made the point, I think Phil made the point, do you run with Sloan or not? Well, that was well and truly answered, wasn't it?
Yep.
This week, I'm not sure that they've got that sort of gritty running power, the Saints, and they've got a couple of players out as well.
Yeah, Rewatt's a big out, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So, you know, you would think at home, the Crows are a different side. They're a different side. They win.
Yeah, Crows for me as well.
Crows for you. All right, let's have a look. Essendon sit in 12th. The Power sit in 5th. Saturday night at Etihad Stadium. Paddy Ryder up against his old team. Are going to be any luggage, any mind games going for Paddy, or will he just continue to dominate the way he has?
I think he'll just go about his job. He's played against them before previously and kicked forward in the last quarter a few years ago to win the game for the Power. So, you know, I'm sure he'll do a similar job on Saturday night, and I think the Power will continue their good form and beat the Bombers.
You know what? I reckon the Bombers are only that far off being a really good side. You know, I mean, Joe Danaher leads the way there. I really like him. But you know what? Port Adelaide have just, well, the Crows have been in the spotlight, as they so often are, and deservingly so for the first half a dozen games this year. Port Adelaide are just moving like a silent assassin. I reckon that this is going to be an interesting finish this year. I tell you right now, Port win for me.
Yeah, they're going well. One of the biggest things I think is they've really got to beat a team in the top 8. And then we can say that, yeah, they're a contender. Yeah. They're playing great footy, but it's been against some of the lower sort of teams. Yeah. Once they can beat, say, you know, a Crows or a GWS team like that, or the Bulldogs, you know, then we can say, yep, Port's a real genuine contender this year.
It's interesting. Dixon up forward for Power, Danaher for Essendon. Which one do you see coming on top in that game?
That's a very good question, Smithy. Both of them are playing really good football this year. I think Dixon, actually, because he's in career best form. I know Danaher is as well, but Dixon's just such a big target up there for Port and just clunking everything that comes towards him. Kicked 4 again last week, could have kicked 6. So, yeah, Dixon for me.
He is a big presence. All right, both going for Port Adelaide in that one?
Yep.
All right, let's talk about the Hawks in 15th, Gold Coast in 14th at the MCG. Gold Coast, big win for them, big boost over West Coast last week. So, and the Hawks obviously smashed by 51.
Yeah, I did pick Gold Coast to win last week, so I was happy with that tip.
Well done, yeah, very good.
Not many people would have, so
no, I wouldn't have thought.
No, I walked out of here, went, cuckoo. As it turned out, you're okay.
And that was before the tipping.
Exactly. Yeah, so this one's a very hard one. You always wonder whether Hawthorn's going to come out fired up after last week's game against Port, but then Gold Coast are playing good footy, so it's a really tough one.
You know what, and I mentioned it a few weeks ago, again, whoever loses this match, forget top 8 this year. I mean, that's where they are. You know, I think Hawthorn, they need to win.
Yeah.
And I'll pick Hawthorn.
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be Gold Coast. I think Hawks are in a lot of pain. Lions in 18th, Freo in 8th spot. Both teams lost the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, Brisbane are good at home, and Freo be very disciplined the last couple of weeks. Of course, they lost the Crows by 100 points and then 20 points against Collingwood. Not many people would have picked that one. So, yeah, if they want to play finals this year, they've got to win this game. So I think
I'm tipping an upset. I'm going to go. Really? I'm tipping an upset.
Really?
I just think, you know, when you just get a gut feeling, you can't base it on anything. Yeah. So Brisbane for me.
Yeah. For you?
Yeah, I think Freo.
Freo. All right.
Too good.
Sunday, Carlton, GWS 17th up against first. Eddie, hardly worth a discussion, is it?
Yeah, well, half of the ex-Giants players play for the Blues these days, so you can almost call them the Carlton Giants. But no, I think GWS are too good at the moment. They're playing great footy. Of course, they beat the Bombers last week at home, so I think they'll be too strong for the Blues.
You know what? I reckon GWS, as good as they've been, all the best football's still ahead of them. They've been mucking around with a squad of 26. They're going to be dangerously good in the back half of this year.
You'll see them in the grand final. You'll see them in the grand final. Monday, of course, Melbourne in 9th, Collingwood in 10th at the MCG. Collingwood, Buckley starting to play some pretty good footy.
They are. But they are coming back from Perth, and Melbourne has had a week off as well. So I'm tipping the D's to win this one in a close one. And apparently Jamie Elliott could be out as well. It's a bit of a big blow for the Pies because he's been playing really well. So.
All right, mate, we're getting the wind-up. Just quickly, got a bit of goss for us. What's been happening?
I'm just so frustrated by this, boys. Being a Port Adelaide supporter, seeing Steve Summerton playing in the SANFL reserves, I think it's time for AFL or SANFL to stand up and say, yep, we need to make it a national reserves competition, have Crows and Port in it, go back to the old Magpies, and then, you know, that's done, and have them, the Crows and Port's reserve, playing as a curtain raiser before the main game. I think it needs to be done, but whether or not it happens...
That's not a bad idea.
Well, if you're going to... And this is where the AFL are going to run into a dilemma. Do we underpin the elite competition with a good, solid national competition, or do we use resource to build a women's competition? And that you can't do both at this stage. That's going to be the dilemma.
Well, they've got plenty of money. I think they can do it all, Poppy. We need to get to a break. No, we're not going to go to a break. Thanks for coming in, Bevo. We're going to find out, Poppy, what's been spinning your wheels. You're a bit grumpy when you came in today, so let's find out.
It doesn't take much for me to be grumpy these days. I mean, I know you're quite aware of that, but I reckon Bevo's hit the nail on the head there. You know, this SANFL competition, and we should be celebrating what has been a wonderful history, the 140th anniversary, with a beautiful presentation down there at North Terrace about the league as it was. But the fact is, we've got to look at the league as it is right now. Yep. What are the answers? And we've spoken about this in previous weeks. How do we make the SANFL more relevant? And I think part of it is what Bevo said, is it either goes to a national, this is the Crows of Port Adelaide, become a national reserves competition. But guess what happens to the SANFL? It falls down another level again. So that's dangerous if the SANFL go down that path. The other one that I don't mind, and I've been a big advocate for this for well over a decade, is that I like the idea of SANFL teams playing curtain raisers interstate. So for instance, if the Power are playing Essendon in Melbourne, then I'd love to see the Magpies play West Adelaide as a curtain raiser. Now there's two benefits to this. One is it puts our SANFL competition on a national stage in front of a big audience at the MCG. Two is there's another reason for players, the best players, to join our competition, because they are getting an opportunity to play as a curtain raiser to an AFL game, and therefore showcase themselves to a bigger audience and the appropriate people who make selections in years to come. So I'd like, now there is a monetary issue to this, but I think the AFL and the SANFL are compelled to drive the SANFL harder, the profile harder. And it's all these little elements that on their own might not be the difference, but together will bring the SANFL to a level that it should be.
Yeah, and you reckon the Victorian clubs would vote on that, do you?
No, but this is where
that it can't go through.
No, but the SANFL...
your idea is fantastic.
But you know what?
But it won't get voted on.
Well, you know what? But it might mean that that the VFL will take their opportunities to promote in South Australia, for instance. It doesn't... You can work it. You can work it in opposite ways, but I think we need to make our second-tier competitions more relevant, and I'm not sure that they have at the moment. Already we've trialled the AFLW as a curtain raiser game. Their grand final was a curtain raiser to a Brisbane game.
Did you like that or not?
No, look...
I would have rather it was on
To be honest, I think they should have had a standalone game.
Yes, agreed.
But given that they have trialled it, and you know what, a lot of AFL clubs, and I know this for a fact, AFL clubs are wanting their supporters to come to the ground earlier.
Yep.
Well, you need to give them a reason.
Yes.
And it's not, girls dancing around.
You don't want to see
need to get them there.
I think the only way I can see it working is that they create a reserves competition. So when Essendon play Port Adelaide play Essendon in the reserves. And yes, there's a bigger budget, and maybe they have to go, well, okay, we've got to save money. They're fly in, fly out. They don't overnight. They don't get all the luxuries of an AFL type setup. I just can't see it working any other way.
Well, maybe, but
I can't see the clubs would agree to it.
I think at the very least, the SANFL need to instigate, create, and I'm sure they are already, a think tank. But the think tank needs to come from outside SA as much as it needs to be driven within SA.
Yep.
Because not all the best ideas are going to come from here. And there are elements around, and I'm sure the SANFL, I don't know this, but I'm sure that they're well advanced and well enough to know that there is something required to bring it back into the fore.
I think we know if it stays the way it is, then it's doomed. It can't survive the way it is.
You're going backwards by staying the same.
We've discussed change the season, bring it in earlier so it doesn't compete with the AFL or with the AFLW now. I think they could probably compete a little bit with them, but don't want to encroach into that too much. Or the reserves competition is I can't see any other saving grace.
And we spoke about the Thursday night game this week in the AFL. and you've made mention of this, and Barnsley's made mention of this, and people have discussed this, is we need to find a time outside of the AFL zone, outside of Saturday afternoon. When is the time that is, because it's not about our players, it's about us getting supporters there. We have to be able to play at a time that is best for the game, not convenient for us.
Let me ask you this, just quickly, because we need to wrap it up, but if you could go and watch the SANFL in the summer,
yes,
would you prefer doing that to the winter?
Warmer,
I can sit outside.
Probably.
It's a nice
and
night,
I know you're a bit of
Saturday night game.
I think you're an advocate for bringing the season forward, so we've got a head start to the AFL season. I love the idea. Half a dozen weeks before the AFL starts, we've got the SANFL up and going. You know.
I think it nearly needs to be finished.
And guess
before
what?
The AFL
guess
starts.
what? It might even be the AFL play a curtain raiser trial game prior to the SANFL.
It's not a bad idea.
Why not?
You can build on it. You can build on it.
Yeah.
All right, got a little bit of grease on your wheels. You seem to have not squeaking so much now.
I'm not too bad.
All right.
I'm not too bad.
You're all right. Hope you enjoyed the show, everybody. We'll look forward to your company next week. Bye for now.